Oop, my Project Moon drip feed is dried up until Olympus Company comes out. Well, I guess there's no better time than now to get this started. In this and the coming videos, I will be compiling all the information we know about Project Moon's setting, the city, from across 3 games, 2 webcomics, and a serialized story into something a bit more bite-sized. I will be setting out to create a series of easily comprehensible videos starting from the larger, broader terms and information down to the unique details of the city. This series will be chock full of spoilers from every piece of media Project Moon has put out. This is more for filling in some of the details someone might have missed while playing Lobotomy Corporation or Library of Arena, or for those who just started playing Olympus Company and wanted to get up to speed ASAP. I highly recommend going and consuming the other Project Moon media before watching these videos if you haven't already. Since we learn more and more about the city each time Project Moon puts out a new morsel, information in these videos is bound to be incomplete and filled in at later dates. In the meantime, let this serve as a good starting point. Finishing up the preamble for the uninitiated, the city is a dystopian setting in an as of yet undisclosed world. Hedonism, death, and brutality are all common in the city. People will kill and steal to get any kind of leg up on each other. Neighbors will sell out their savior if it means they will get a chance at living a better life. The rich will torture the poor for their own amusement. Wealth is everything in this city. Without wealth, you are nothing. Disease has been cured in the city, but if you can't afford the treatment, oops, so sorry, try being rich. There is no real centralized police force in the city. Instead, people must hire out local mercenaries in order to stay safe from the dangers the city presents. The city consists of a near continent-sized landmass which is made up of 25 districts which act like countries. Each district has their own rules, customs, culture, and quirks. As a whole, it's overseen by the head, a ringleader government which oversees all 25 districts. While we have been shown very little of the world outside the city, we do know that it exists by proof of the outskirts, which at the time of writing this are anything outside of the walls of the city. They are known to be extremely dangerous and often not worth the risk of exploring. Inhabited by old world remnants, monsters, and those exiled from the city. In a map drawn by Ezra in Distortion Detective, it is shown that the districts are situated next to a body of water to the southeast, but there is a large amount of untouched and possibly unknown land in the other directions. On this map we can see an outer area separate from the districts, but still within the walls of the city, denoting the outskirts. The head is responsible for the rules that span across the entirety of the city. Even though each district is the size of a European country, think of their relation to the head as the states to the United States responding to federal laws, and the head is all 3 branches. They are responsible for the sweeping laws such as gun limitations via the idea that killing another human should not be trivial or insignificant, thus limiting their size and firepower. Another one is the AI Ethics Amendment, which states that non-humans must be evicted and robot bodies can't resemble humans too closely or face penalty of destruction, and the cloning laws that dictate that no cloned being can exist alongside the original for more than 7 days. And worst of all, everyone must pay taxes. More laws are likely to be in effect, but these are the ones we have to work with at the moment. The head, aside from being the dictating voice of the city, also has a few branches for observing, judging, and enacting their punishments. The arbiters act as a judge and jury when it comes to investigating and deeming one's innocence or guilt. The eye is the intelligence gathering force. Those known as beholders are seen being able to see past barriers that would normally keep scrying eyes out. Claws are overseen by arbiters, but they are the killing force of the head. They will seek out those the head is deemed as an enemy and eliminate them with extreme prejudice. Below the head, each district is ruled over by a mega corporation known as a wing. The wing in charge of each district is given a designation of A through Y. Promotional material for Olympus Corporation details the districts and their respective ruling wing. There can only be one current lettered corporation for each district, but that does not mean that the corporations currently in power have always been there. If a wing falls out of favor with the head, is destroyed, or is otherwise removed by other means, a new company can apply to the head for the status of that district's wing. Under the watch of the wing is the nest, a safe haven for the denizens of the city to live in, away from most greater evils. Direct employees of the wing, known as feathers, live in the nest, but they are not the sole inhabitants. You can buy your way into living in the nest, but it is damn expensive. Attacking a feather is a good way to make sure people will come and take care of you. Here, employees live a relatively safe life, physically blockaded from the neglected parts of each district known as the Backstreets. Each district has a different method of keeping out unwanted filth, but one thing is clear: the wing doesn't want them mucking about. However, if a Backstreet denizen is motivated enough, they can find their way into the nest. In contrast, the feathers are motivated to do a good job, as otherwise they will be kicked to the Backstreets. Though, that's not to say people can't live a relatively safe life in the Backstreets. It's hard at times to get a full picture of just how normal, by our standards, life in the city can be. There are those that claim a normal life is possible, and there are various social and economic classes throughout the city, leaving it not too far off from the real world. The currency is on, and earning about 4 million on a month is considered upper middle class, as denoted by one of the residents' books. We can assume this means being able to live in much less worry of danger than the other residents. We do have a piece from Project Moon showcasing some characters going on a nice date at a restaurant, and have gotten several photos of a street view from Olympus Company. In contrast to the list of sweeping laws that had put in force earlier, nights in the Backstreets are lawless. Between the times of 0313 and 0434, anyone is allowed to commit terrible acts at night. If this mini purge wasn't confusing enough, it is forbidden to record or spy on those in the streets at this time. Unless you are an eyewitness to something, investigating what happens at night will see you dealt with instead. And if that wasn't worse enough, individuals known as sweepers come out in droves to clean up all the corpses and items left in the streets. So you have a lawless time, but a few stipulations under penalty of death. Is the city sounding like a nice vacation spot yet? Other various quirks of the Backstreet include being so utterly dangerous that students who take alleys to get to school will carry weapons for protection. Many will opt for online schools instead. Cannibalism isn't just not unheard of, it's not uncommon. Hell, District 23's Backstreets have normalized the practice, dubbing it the Streets of Flavor. All wings have what is known as a singularity. A singularity is patented technology that often breaks the laws of physics as we would normally know them. Some include the ability to lock or unlock anything, even conceptual ideas such as the mind, while others allow the limitless collection of energy. Wings may only answer to the head when it comes to the ruling of their districts, but they often will form alliances with each other if it proves beneficial. In the past, we have seen alliances of combat nature, but predominantly we've seen companies sell singularities to each other for the use. Lobotomy Corporation, a previous iteration of the wing that oversaw District 12, used the singularities of R Corp, T Corp, and W Corp in exchange for energy Lobotomy Corp would produce. As one could guess, singularities are worth more than their weight in gold. Worth more than their weight in human lives is probably a better comparison. Whole wars are declared over valuable technologies like singularities. At this time, we do not know every single singularity of all 26 current wings, but we do know most of them. Before I go into detail about the wings, I should explain one more large sector of power within the city, known as the Five Fingers. These are the 5 most powerful criminal syndicates that rival the power of wings in terms of manpower and sway. Even the head has had issue dealing with them as they spread across the city. As their name would imply, the 5 fingers are made up of the thumb, the index, the middle, the ring, and the pinky. So far we have been shown the thumb, index, and middle, with hints at the others. Each has their own quirk, but I will get back to them in a later video. That should act as a cursory introduction to the world Project Moon has set up for us. Further videos will explore the concepts and terms introduced here in greater detail. Hell, if you wanted to jump into the series, now would be a great time, as you would have a much easier time understanding the background context of Lobotomy Corporation and Library of Arena. The next video will be going over wings present and past before going over their singularities. Thank you for sitting through this entire video. I hope you stay tuned for the rest of the series. Ciao.